So on the 1st of January 2025, I and my partner decided to go to the cinemas to go and watch a movie. And that was because we had some free tickets that was given to us because of a work she did with a media company. Now, because of the hype surrounding the movie, Everyone Loves Jennifer, we decided that is what we were going to watch. On getting to the cinema, we went to the cashier and presented our tickets. The cashier, on seeing our tickets, told us that because our tickets was free or complimentary, the movie Everyone Loves Jennifer was not available to us, and that the only thing we could watch was Gladiator 2 or One Night Guest, which is a Nigerian film. Now, I already watched the movie Gladiator 2, so I didn't want to watch it again. So the only other option we had was One Night Guest. I was like, okay, no problem now. How bad could it be? Let's just see now. So we presented our tickets, they confirmed it, and they gave us popcorn and a soft drink, and we waited. So when it was time for the movie to start, they called us into the cinema. On getting there, we found our seats, settled down, and waited for the movie to start. It didn't even take up to 10 minutes of watching the movie to realize that we had made a very big mistake, because that movie was, oh my God, that movie was bad. I have never seen such terrible acting in my life. I am serious. I've watched so many movies, mostly foreign, but I've watched a good amount of Nigerian films to be able to compare. But this movie was bad. And one of the major problems with this particular movie was the acting. The other parts of it, the location, the lighting, the color grading was okay. Even the sound was okay. But you see that acting was bad. And what made it particularly bad was this caricature way of acting, this acting like you are acting. And I noticed that this is one thing that keeps repeating itself in a lot of Nigerian films. And this is what actually inspired me to come and make this particular video. Now, this particular movie is a movie that had very popular people as part of the cast. People like Iniedo, Majid, Lasisi, the content creator. And there's a certain level of expectation from this type of people, only for them to just come and just give us such mediocre performance. Now, as you can hear my tone, you will know that I love movies. And I'm not doing this particular video to disrespect or dismiss the creative efforts of filmmakers. But we have to talk about a burning issue that is at the core of why Nollywood is not being taken seriously in the West. As of January 2025, no Nigerian film has won an Oscar or even been nominated for this particular award. It doesn't mean that we have not tried in the past, because some movies were actually submitted, but none of them was ever nominated. In 2019, the movie Lionheart, directed by Genevieve, was submitted but was disqualified, because a large part of the movie was spoken in English, which is contrary to the rule of Oscar, which states that any movie from outside America has to be done in the native language. Even in 2020, the movie Milkmaid, which was directed by Desmond, this name on the screen, was submitted but did not secure a nomination. In 2023, the movie Mami Ota, which was directed by C.G. Obasi, was submitted but also did not get nominated. Now, over the years, Nollywood has improved in a few key areas, and some of them include areas like cinematography and color grading. These two particular sides are more of the technical side. That said, the major weaknesses for most Nollywood movies is actually in the creative side, and that has to do with exaggerated acting, or acting like a caricature, or acting like you're acting, as well as poor script writing or poor script execution. Now, when it comes to the experience of watching movies, a good movie should make you forget that you're watching a movie. I'm sure many times you are watching a movie and you just totally forget that it's a film. Maybe you have become so anxious because the action is getting too serious. You have to pinch yourself, I'm on a film I dey watch now, relax. A good movie will make you feel as if you are looking at a CCTV monitor, or you are looking at people in real life. And for me, when I watch most Nollywood movies, I am constantly aware that I am watching a movie. Somebody will overact, or something will just happen in the movie that will just remind you that you are watching a film. Now, I am not saying that all Nollywood movies are bad, but most mediocre productions have two of these particular issues as their major challenges. And the number one is inauthentic acting, which I have called acting like you're acting, or the exaggerated acting, or acting like a caricature. And this occurs when performance feels exaggerated, forced, or caricature-like, making it evident that the actor is acting. This style often lacks subtlety, leading to over-the-top expression and unnatural dialogue delivery, which can break the audience's immersion and make the characters feel unrelatable. The second major challenge is poor script writing or execution. Poor script writing or execution are among the most common pitfalls in filmmaking and storytelling. This issue undermines the overall quality of production, regardless of its budget, acting, or technical achievements. Issues like lack of depth and predictable plot lines make stories unengaging. Lack of depth usually encompasses all those issues of one-dimensional characters. You know, those characters that is just one way. There's no depth, there's no nuance, it's just very flat. As well as all those recycled stories and obvious foreshadowing, whereby you can already tell what's going to happen. It can make it difficult for somebody to be engaged in watching the movie. Unnatural dialogue, such as characters speaking in a way that don't align with their personality, or excessive explanation, can break a person's immersion. Immersion meaning that, when you are engaged in the movie, when you are drawn into the movie. In terms of execution, poor pacing, which is the case where a scene drags for too long or ends abruptly, as well as over-reliance on overused tropes like the chosen one, the damsel in distress, or the love triangle, can further distract from the story's impact. These flaws can lead to disengagement, lack of emotional impact, and negative reviews, damaging the production's reputation. Examples could be a movie that everybody is expecting to do well, but all of a sudden the ending will just be very bad or very weak. In Nollýwood, some of the reasons for this particular issue include this our culture of we go manage and like that. If you have done work with artisans and creatives here in Nigeria, you will notice this culture of we go manage and like that. Somebody will do some work that is not as good as you expect, but they'll just tell that manage and like that. Whether you go and give a carpenter work to do, you do work that is not very good, and you tell that manage and like that. Or you give a mechanic to do work for you, and you just do it and you say manage am. This particular culture plays very well in the movie industry, because even when a director has the desire to come up with very good work, by the time he starts pushing the actor and the crew to take scenes over and over again, the crew members or the actor will just be like, Oga, it's okay, Joe, we go manage am like that. Why are you doing like this now? We've taken it 5 times. It's okay now. More manage am like that. We'll do it in post. I beg, more manage am like that. There's no time like that. More just manage am. That particular culture of we go manage am like that is a very, 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 very big issue of why there's so much mediocrity in Nollýwood. As I said before, some of the reasons why our directors are not able to push our actors include financial reasons, because every day on set costs a lot of money, from the cameras to the crew members to the location. Every single day, every single minute, every single hour costs money. So sometimes the director does not have the luxury of having multiple takes or pushing an actor to do as many takes as possible, and as a result they have to just manage things like that. Another reason could be because of the directors themselves don't have the adequate skill or talent to actually push the actors to that greatness. Another reason again could be poor leadership. The directors themselves don't have that leadership or that desire for excellence. Many of them are just doing it for money or doing it for egotistical reasons. Now that leads me to the next reason, which is ego. Ego from the director, the crew, and the actors. If you are close to the movie industry, you will notice that ego is a very, 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 very big problem in the industry. Because it's an informal industry, so people are not taught about how to manage their egos. And this particular issue causes a lot of problem, because the director now may come with an attitude and say he wants something to be done, and the actor, who is somebody that has been successful, let's say in Edo or Jamaica, will say that who are you to be telling me what to do? I've been acting for the past 15 years or the past 20 years. You can't talk to me like that. And all of a sudden, simple things that can be done very quickly will become very difficult to do. And that ego issue is something that, if it's not sorted out, it will always continue to create problems. And this particular issue is a reason why the directors themselves cannot really push the actors or the crew, because their ego will not allow them to respond or do the right thing. Another issue again is that many filmmakers are extremely sensitive to criticisms. Many of them don't want to be told what to do, whether it's the actors or the directors themselves. When film critics, writers, or the media criticizes their works for whatever reason, they become defensive and start attacking. Rather than taking the constructive part of the criticism, they take everything as destructive and they just dismiss everything. And their fans too are also part of the problem, because when you start talking now, their fans will say things like, shut up and go and make your own movie. And that doesn't make any sense, because when you create your work and present it to the public, I'm sure to an extent you are expecting praise or a review. So you can't always control when people will criticize you. Anything that makes you present your work to the public, you are always at the risk of being criticized, and it just comes with the territory. Now, another major weakness when it comes to Nigerian movies is the audience, because from observation, the audience are divided into many groups. They are the ones that like Nollywood movies as well as the ones that like Hollywood movies. Not talk of the ones that now even like Asian movies, like all those Indian and Korean movies. So, as a result, we have a very large and diverse film audience. But on a psychological level, the Nigerian audience are largely divided into 3 categories. And these are the simple audience, the complex audience, and the hybrid audience. Now, the simple audience gravitate towards straightforward narrative with minimal layers and twists. They prefer content that is easy to follow, emotionally resonant, and often rooted in cultural and moral values they can relate to. This audience enjoys predictability as it provides comfort and aligns with their need for entertainment as a form of escapism. They favor cultural familiarity and easy to consume content over intellectual complexity. This audience are more common in Africa and Caribbean due to the social, economic realities and limited exposure to diverse narratives. For example, these are people that like our popular Nollýwood movies. I can say that most children and uneducated people fall into this particular group, but interestingly, a huge portion of the educated class in Nigeria and Africa fall into this particular category. So it's not much about education, but about mindset, although education plays a role in it too. The next group is the complex or multi-layered audience. This audience seek depth, nuance, and intellectual stimulation in entertainment. They enjoy intricate plots, ambiguous endings, and stories exploring complex themes like social issues and psychological dilemmas. Originality and creative storytelling are highly valued. This kind of audience would like movies like Inception, Parasite, Black Mirror, or The Sopranos. The third audience is the hybrid audience. This particular audience enjoys a balance of straightforward and emotionally engaging stories with an added layer of depth and nuance. They appreciate familiar themes but also value moderate complexity, subplots, and moments of intellectual stimulation. This audience can be found globally but seems to be growing in regions with increasing access to diverse content like Africa and the Caribbean. The audience with this kind of mindset will like movies like Squid Game, Breaking Bad, and Black Panther, which combine emotional storytelling with a deeper theme. Nigeria as a country and an industry has more of the simple audience, followed by the hybrid audience, while the complex ones are the smallest group. Most Nigerian filmmakers create movies with the simple audience in mind, while a few use the persona of the hybrid audience when creating projects. For the longest time, I was trying to understand why all those low-budget YouTube movies are actually very successful. Because if you go online, if you go on YouTube, you see these movies, they are 2 million, 5 million, 8 million. And these movies attract a very loyal audience. There's nothing you can talk about these movies and they will listen to you. And these movies are very simple in the way they are produced. Their storyline are very direct, their acting are very over the top, and it has made me wonder, who are these people that watch these movies? Who are these people? With all the movies that are coming out of Hollywood and Korea and the rest of the world that seem to be more complex, why is it that so many people like this kind of simple content? As time went on, I now realized that it's because film audience are split into categories, and many of these people that like this kind of movies are the simple audience. And what even made it easier for me to understand was because my partner seems to like predictable plot lines and all this type of thing. And me personally, anytime I see a movie that is predictable, I just get turned off immediately. I usually prefer movies that are more stimulating psychologically or mentally. And this does not take away from the fact that she's actually a very intelligent person. So through that, I was able to understand that, okay, some people are more simple when it comes to movies, while some people actually like complex movies. Funke Akindele's movies appeals to a very large portion of the simple audience, mixed with a good number of the hybrid audience, which is why she's very successful. I used to wonder, why is Funke so successful? And it's because she has a very large portion of the simple audience who don't find any issue with the fact that some of her movies are predictable or acted in a certain way. But if somebody that has more of a complex mindset sees these movies, they'll be like, waiting with this. They'll be disappointed, especially with all the hype. And that is what has been happening this particular Christmas season that happened, where a couple of people went to the movies and were very disappointed. I think those ones that saw those particular movies have more of the complex mindset compared to the simple-minded people. And the people that actually enjoyed it are people that have that simple mindset. And there's nothing bad in it. It's just a way of categorizing. So first of all, I can't teach professionals how to do their jobs. And I don't want people to become offended that this outsider is coming here to come and be talking to filmmakers about how to do their job. But I am 100% sure that I have watched more than 2,000 movies in my entire life. I have enough knowledge to be able to compare and contrast what movie looks good. And for the past 5 years, I have been studying filmmaking because me myself, I actually work with people in the film industry in different capacities. So I can be able to look at it and say, okay, from my observation, I feel like this is where the issue is coming from. Now, with everything I've said, the advice I'll give to actors is that they should be very wary of complacency because it can cost them their reputation and legacy. What that means is that because everything is a more manager like that culture, you now use it as an opportunity to not do your best. It can affect your legacy. For example, this movie I just watched now, this One Night Guest, where Inedo and Majid, who are veteran actors who have acted for the past 10-15 years, because of the culture of we go manager like that, they went on this movie and acted their worst roles possible. No matter what anybody tells me, I don't want to hear it. That movie was bad. The acting was very bad. Iniedo's performance was terrible. Majid's performance was terrible. Now, Lasisi is another thing entirely because he's a skit actor that they just use because he has his fan base. So maybe that's why they just used him. So I'm not going to really talk about him. But even though upon still, his acting was terrible. His acting was so caricature. He's the one that even inspired me to come and do this particular video. So what I'm saying is that these actors should not take advantage of the fact that we have this kind of mediocre culture because ultimately it will affect their legacy and their reputation. Now, if we can find a way to solve these particular issues of inauthentic acting and poor script writing and execution, the rest of the other issues will fall in line. Some other issues are also quite unique, for example, stunt and VFX, but most of the other issues would fall in place, and ultimately Nollýwood will start getting international acclaim and recognition. It will also allow our actors and filmmakers to have more international collaboration, which will improve the industry creatively, technically, and financially. Personally, I want our film industry to flourish like our music industry, but if we don't solve these particular issues, it will be totally impossible to get there, and that's the truth. If you agree or disagree with what you heard in this particular video, please drop a comment below, and if you enjoyed the video, please like it. Also subscribe to the channel for more content related to the psychology of pop culture. My name is Kola, and I'll see you in my next videos. Bye for now.